Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and time for some music entertainment news. Last night, the Emmys. And do you guys watch Shogun? Anybody? Because
no, what is Shogun?
it's kind of like the Game of Thrones type of show, and it won 18 Emmys for its first season. And like The Bear was nominated for a bunch too. The Bear got 4, and Baby Reindeer also got 4 Emmy nominations.
These are the most random names of shows I've ever heard in my life. Baby Reindeer and Shogun were the 2 winners?
Yeah, and The Bear.
Oh, am I not? And The Bear, yeah.
Yeah, The Bear did pretty well too.
So I've at least heard of Shogun, and it sounds awesome, and everybody I know that's watched it says it's awesome.
Yeah.
What was the third show? Baby Reindeer?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. And I don't like it when we we definitely watch a lot of TV, but at the same time, there's just, you can't keep up with everything.
Well, especially when there's a new season of The Challenge. It's just so hard to watch anything else.
Now, I'm up to date on The Challenge on MTV, which is amazing. You wouldn't believe how the eliminations are working, but I'm not going to get into that.
Is Johnny Bananas up to no good this year?
Oh.
Please don't get him going.
He's diabolical. So Baby Reindeer, it's in his first season as well, just like Shogun was.
That up.
Yeah.
Kenzie, here's what it says. Baby Reindeer, dealing with a female stalker, a man is forced to face a dark buried trauma.
Well, I like it.
I was going to say, also known as the Kenzie story.
Hey. Never stalked. Never
How about
stalked.
that? So some of our listeners have seen it. You can chime in.
Shogun looks kind of badass, too. Look at this.
They had a huge trailer and promotion for that show when it started, and then I just haven't heard anything about it since it started, but obviously
I like the cover art. Look at that horse.
Yeah.
Pretty badass. I watch that. That's cool.
Why don't you get on it then? You want to add it to the list?
I'm a big cover art girl. You got to pull me in. I need a good cover. All right, I'm not going to watch it if it looks boring.
Yeah, it obviously did well. I mean, awards don't necessarily mean it's a good show, but it's certainly cleaned up. And The Bear did too. We know that's a good show. So
have you guys watched all of season 3 for The Bear yet?
I still haven't.
I haven't. I'm only 3. Now, when season 3 came out is when I started all of it as a whole. So I'm 2 episodes into season 3 in that amount of time, which is pretty good.
You know how bad I am with time. Has season 3, did it drop 6 months ago?
No.
No, not at all.
Brian, season 3 dropped when
you had pneumonia.
When you had pneumonia.
I'll never forget because it's when I started watching.
Yes, because we were like the whole week we were like, guys, be here Friday. We're gonna talk about season 3 of The Bear, and then we weren't here Friday because you had pneumonia.
I know. And then I finally got to watch The Bear. It was awesome.
Yeah, it turns out great show, right?
Yeah, no, it gave you having pneumonia gave me a little bit of time to catch up on The Bear. It was pretty good. I had a good time. Well, you had pneumonia.
Well, I'm glad that my wishes of how I'm going to go out if I had pneumonia making the will got you to watch The Bear.
Every once in a while, I don't want you to take offense to this. I go to bed going, God, I hope Brian's sick tomorrow. I'm exhausted.
Gee, how could I not take offense to that?
I got COVID in Nashville because I am tired.
Oh, good thing I'm a beacon of health.
Yeah, no. I don't want you to die. I just want you to need a little recovery day.
Do you want me to hit by a car?
No. Well, only if it didn't kill you.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe like a week off or something. That'd be nice.
All right. So there you go.
Don't want you to die.
Thank you. I appreciate you. That's really sweet.
You're welcome.
Really nice. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck were seen kissing and holding hands during a brunch with the kids amid the divorce, which seemed pretty volatile, actually, a couple weeks ago. But now they're hanging out, kissing, I guess.
I feel like nobody has to be more tired than the kids.
I'm just like, what are we doing here?
How about you figure it out and then loop us back in? We'd be at brunch after you just did the divorce thing a week ago.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want some free food?
Well, I'm sure everything in their life's free. I think it'd be just fine. But it's like, bring us back in when you're confident. I'm exhausted because she was also seen with A-Rod. Do you think they're like, who are we calling dad? Just so we know.
And she has two or three other ex-husbands. I mean, A-Rod wasn't a husband. He was a boyfriend only, but there's three other.
Ex-fiancé, actually.
And then there's 3 other ex-husbands.
Yeah. Now, the kids don't have to worry about those because those were pre-kids because she had the kids with Mark Anthony.
Pre-kids, you called them?
The pre-kids. BK, before kids.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I associate my life. Before kids and after kids.
You know what's wild is they didn't have a prenup. Each of them are worth about $300 or $400 million.
They're probably just like, I'll just keep mine, you keep yours.
Yeah, but they could go after each other's, right? He gets in a bitter court rival. I mean, I don't know.
But if you're equal in net worth, you probably don't relate. It's like, whatever. Like,
I just want to get away from her or him.
Don't you think you just be like, separate it? Who cares? I got mine.
But if you're vindictive, you might want to take something. They have a $67 million house. Who gets
That's
that?
nice. That's
By
nice.
the way, that's not the only house they have. I would like to think about that. It's not
Stupid.
like this one house they put everything into. It's just one of their houses.
I'm just saying it sounds like I want that house.
Well, you don't have a house.
I know, I rent. And so I'd fight for that house. I'd be
Chris
so
Rock
mean.
has a really good skit on why rich people don't need prenups and why broke people like me and you, Brian, do. He's
And
like,
Case,
listen,
might as well lump Case in
he
there.
goes, when you
I've
have
had a good year.
when you have hundreds of millions of dollars and somebody takes half, he goes, you still have $50 million, you're fine. He goes, if you have $60,000 and somebody takes half, you're not doing good.
No.
Like, the rich people are the ones who are okay. Even
Yeah.
if half gets taken, they're still really, really, really rich.
They're fine. They're
I
fine.
only have $500 million now. What am I going to do with my life?
Oh, eating ramen every day. Finally, in entertainment news, we have to pour one out for two people. Let's start with the one that died first. That would be Chad McQueen. But that sounded not nice. But Chad McQueen is, if you don't know that name, Steve McQueen's son, a legendary actor, but he was Dutch in Karate Kid, which now Case has seen Karate Kid.
But who was Dutch?
He was the bleach blonde hair guy.
Oh, he was the coolest guy in the movie.
He was the toughest, most a-hole one of the crew. I don't know if I want to say he
But
was.
that's not the one in Cobra Kai.
He
who's
actually,
bleach blonde.
he's the only one that didn't. They reached out to him trying to get into Cobra Kai. He was not in Cobra Kai, and maybe it's because he was sick, because he died of organ failure.
Who's the main guy in Cobra Kai?
Well, Johnny. So
Okay.
and obviously Daniel LaRusso. So
Okay.
they're the two main ones.
I see.
And I guess Johnny has bleach blonde hair too, but Chad McQueen was also in The Lost Boys. With Kiefer Sutherland. So he kind of looked like Kiefer Sutherland. Had a great stretch there of the 80s, didn't do much. That became a race car driver and did stuff because,
Well, that's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, it is pretty kick-ass. Well, his dad was into it too.
Wow.
But yeah, The Karate Kid Part 2. And you know what? I'm wrong. He was not in The Lost Boys. I thought he was in The Lost Boys as one of the characters
I was wondering
there.
who he was. I just figured I didn't know.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
You probably only know from Karate Kid, really. Other than that, like some other. It's too bad he didn't get into Cobra Kai because that was a great flashback to everything.
Aww.
I know. It's sad he died pretty young at 63. Also, today, Tito Jackson died.
Really?
Of the Jackson 5, born in Gary, Indiana.
Aww.
Tito was only 70. I know we keep saying only, but it's true. Only 63.
70 is not old.
Yeah.
I don't consider 70 old. What do you consider old? What's the age you start to think is like you did it?
Well, now it's like 114. That's old.
Really?
Yeah.
I think if you make it, like if you're in your 90s, I'm like, okay, like you did pretty good. Anything
Yeah.
over is like a gain.
When you're 18, like 30's old. You know? It just is. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, Case, you're 25. What do you think old is?
I like 24. I don't know. I feel ancient.
It is true that you just start to feel like, wow. I remember when I was a kid and my brother was in college, and I'm like, well, this is the most adult anyone can get. And then I was in college, I was like, wait a minute.
Yep. Beer
I'm a
bongs here.
child.
Yep. So pour one out for Chad McQueen, who was Dutch in The Karate Kid, and Tito Jackson. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew. Sports.
Well, your Chicago Bears, yours and mine, went down last night. And Sunday Night Football in primetime. Texans won the game 19-13. Looks closer than it could have been. I mean, there was tons of penalties. The Texans defense was all over Caleb Williams. He's going to die. If the Bears don't get something going on with the offensive line.
No, it is a big jump.
I mean,
Second game and he's dead.
I mean, it's one thing to get injured or you possibly, just taken out for a few games. I'm worried about the man. I just bought his jersey, for one thing, and I invested $130 in Caleb Williams, and I just want him to be okay. I do want him to be okay, and I want him to kick ass, and I think he will kick ass. I think a lot of the Justin Fields talk, Justin Fields is now 2-0 with the Steelers.
Looked great yesterday, by the way, throwing the ball downfield like he never did in Chicago.
Because he had a little bit of an offensive line.
I don't know. Maybe he's just better now.
How's he better under a different coach?
I don't know. Look at what Michael Kopech did. He left Chicago and became one of the best pitchers in baseball for the Dodgers. There's something in the water here. It's a city problem. It's a culture problem. We have a problem.
We have a problem with every team has a problem.
We have good food.
We do have good food.
Maybe that's the problem.
You only have so many good things. You can't have everything.
Listen, the defense was so fun to watch. The Chicago Bears defense crushed it. The offense did score. Very nice. Khalil Herbert. How about you, buddy?
On a touchdown pass. It's a give to the end zone. Herbert. Touchdown, Chicago Bears. So the 4-year veteran Herbert runs it in around the edge.
It's just frustrating to see the guy that you want to do well just running for his life, running from his wife, running all the way through. I mean, just every draft pick. I haven't even taken a look at what draft picks are already set for 2025. But every one, I don't care. Usually you're supposed to draft on talent, not need. I mean, you do want to get somebody you need, but you don't want to overdraft somebody based on what you need. We need big dogs. We need offensive linemen that can hold back the other big dogs. We don't have them. We have none of them.
Right.
None of them. So we need those.
They look big.
They look big.
They look huge when you think about it.
As I talked about popcorn muscles that look good, but they really can't move anything. So we need to use every draft pick next year for offensive linemen. I don't care what your stat sheet says as far as like the GM's looking over stuff and who's good and who isn't. Just give me the big dogs.
Do you think if you lined up, pick your offensive lineman of choice on the Bears, if you lined up as a defensive end next to an offensive lineman on the Bears, do you think you could get by them? Do you think they're that weak right now that you could hypothetically sack a quarterback?
I know you think I'm crazy. I can't get by him. No, I can't do that.
Oh, you can. All right. I know you're talking a big game here.
Well, listen, I am not paid millions of dollars to get around him.
No, you are not.
No, you are not.
Now, you put $1 million on the other side of the line of those guys, I'm getting through.
What about like $100?
What about a triple bacon from Wendy's?
Ooh, I'm kicking somebody in the knee.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick straight forward. Like they're doing the whole call out there. Caleb Williams or the quarterback on the other side doing it. Yeah, I'm kicking out a kneecap.
You're kicking out a kneecap.
Yep.
The Karate Kid?
I can get through. So listen, the Bears got to face the 0-2 Colts at Indianapolis next week. It's a must-win game. I don't like to say that third game in the season.
It's a must-win game.
It's must-win if they want to show what the feeling is. And also, I picked that as a victory. So far, I've picked the Bears to win last week, and I picked them to lose this game. So I'm 2-0 on the season so far. So I did pick them to beat the Colts. So they will beat the Colts.
That'll be fun, huh?
Yeah, Cubs finally beat the Rockies yesterday after blowing a chance to stay in the wild card race. They could have swept them because they're second worst team in baseball. But the good news is they're still 5 games out, but only 13 games left. The A's come to Wrigley tonight. The A's, who were going against the White Sox won a series on the weekend against the A's. That's their first series win since June. A walk-off homer on Saturday, too. So they need 6 to not be the worst. They have to go 6-6, and that's 12 games to be not the worst in the history of baseball. However,
what a silly stat. The worst in the history of baseball. Baseball's been played since there were before cars.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Jesus.
Now, their GM.
Well, someone has to be the worst. I don't think it's a fair thing to put on somebody.
Well, but it doesn't have to be the White Sox.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be us.
I could be like, that's ridiculous to be the worst. Somebody has to be. It's not like ridiculous.
And Kenzie is a beacon of light of positivity and people that can, do better like next year.
Yeah.
But according to the White Sox GM, they won't be better next year.
We're not going to be working heavy in free agency. We've got guys out on the field right now that need to improve their game. A lot of these guys are young players and need to make the adjustments to be more productive.
Kenzie?
So you're lying. You're not like paying attention. He didn't say they're not going to be better. He clearly said we're going to help these players improve.
Correct.
Not get worse.
How long has your son Tristan been playing baseball?
Oh God.
He's 10 years old.
Since he was probably, I think T-ball starts at 4 or 5.
Okay. So 5 years. He's improved a hell of a lot, I'm sure, since 5 to
He's
10.
also grown a lot.
He's grown a lot.
Yeah.
22 or 23, 24-year-olds typically don't grow anymore to get bigger to hit the ball better.
But you can grow in skill and talent. Like, this is, it's hard if you're young, coming to the major leagues for the first time ever. Like, everyone's got this negative attitude. Case is so negative towards his own team. It doesn't give you the... when someone just, craps on you all day, it doesn't make you feel good to go play good. I think that's not helpful. I'm super supportive of Tristan. I think it's helped him grow.
Yeah.
It's like planting a seed.
But
They're young.
So let's say he plays 20 years, so he'll be 25 years old.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to get better at 25?
I think that if he went from the minor leagues to major leagues, he has the opportunity to be around better players. And whenever you're surrounded by people who are doing better than you, it's an opportunity to learn from them. That's what I think.
Case was a D3 prospect.
I know.
In baseball. When did you stop improving?
My 16th birthday party, I realized I had hit my apex. I said, I'm out.
Well, the White Sox have a different mentality going forward.
Think about that. They're going to be the worst team in baseball history, and their GM is openly saying, we are not exploring free agent options this offseason.
Maybe he's just trying to work out the mess that's in the house first. You don't need to add other things. Like,
Yeah.
let's work on the marriage, baby, before we have a child, you know?
But if you had a bad wife or husband, do you think they're going to get better?
Oh, they should. That's what therapy is for. Maybe they should all go to therapy.
All the White Sox are going to go to therapy and talk it out.
I bet they're dealing with some like under the chest stuff.
You don't be historically bad without having a few issues. That's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Good luck, guys.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Lauren coming in this glorious day to take you through it. And at noon, coming up, she'll have another chance to get you to the Offspring Thursday night, the pop-up with Q101. It's free, but you have to have a ticket. And the next keyword is coming up at noon. So be here for it, among other things Lauren has planned for you. Takeaways from today's show, Brian and Kenzie, Q101, 312-591-8300. Case, what do you got?
Megan and McHenry checked in her takeaway from today. Brian thinks corn fans are fat.
I'm sorry.
That's really rude.
That was not nice.
I said it was, for the heavy fans, meaning heavy music, not heavy physically.
I'm sure.
Corn is for everybody, fat
Yeah.
fans included.
And honestly, corn's a vegetable, so
Yeah.
it's really on top of it. They're not called cake.
That's right. Check yourself.
Yeah. Reflect.
So we'll have more tickets for the heavy fans out there of Korn at 7:10
I was like, if you're a
tomorrow.
lard ass, Colin.
Yeah, in class with Kenzie. So just be there for it.
Rude.
Okay, what do you got there, Kenzie?
Juan texted in, takeaway, don't pull the plug. Jane's addiction might work things out.
Damn right. And so what's my motto, Kenzie?
I'm not leaving.
And finally, double features Mike takeaway. Balls hot is a lifestyle.
Amen. Amen.
I guess you understand these takeaways if you listen to the entire show. How do you do that, Case?
Well, we learned this morning on the Brian and Kenzie podcast, which you can find anywhere you listen to your podcast, that Brian is jealous of every hot girl on the internet. He thinks that should be him. He also needs to apologize to Jesus after some things that he said during Clash with Kenzie today.
Jesus is pissed with you.
Amen. And then also, Brian and Kenzie reacted to the onstage fight from Jane's addiction over the weekend. Some insight there and a more detailed breakdown than you will get anywhere else of what happened on stage with Jane's addiction this weekend. That's all on the Brian and Kenzie podcast.
Which you can find not only where you get podcasts, Spotify or Apple, but if you go to the Q101 app right there, it's a super easy link on the free Q101 app to get to the Brian and Kenzie podcast.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.